more blogs and stuff. But I mean, so I got to say, I commend you for taking the risk, because like you said, you're like, fuck incubation. You know, there's not much information that you could really, you know, unless you know somebody, which I'm sure you knew somebody, right? Was there anybody you knew back working with ball pythons?
I didn't know anybody when I first started doing ball pythons. Literally, I knew nobody. I met most of the people that I know, honestly, probably through starting to do rodents. So the reason I did rodents in a very, very, very small scale, like a 1.3 for my corn snakes, and I would just freeze them off as I needed them. And then when I decided, we moved, and when I decided I was going to try and do ball pythons, I was like, well, everything I hear about these things is they don't eat. You have to breed. They have to eat live. They have to do this. They have to do that. So I set up, at that point, there was a little information like on breeding. So I actually figured out how to make a rack system for the rodents. What's before that, I built some ghetto cage that was like, it was compartmentalized, like, and I was bouncing the male between 3 females, like in a little flat cardboard cloth box almost.
Right.
But I started having extra, and I was like, well, Craigslist, I put out a small ad or whatever, and I had people that would come over and they would grab, it was a couple bucks here and a couple bucks there. I was like, well, there's money in this. And that's where the initial kickoff from the rodents, and that's kind of where I was still mostly doing corn snakes at that point. I hadn't really invested anything when I started breeding the rodents. I was like, well, there's money in rodents. And so that's where I started thinking about the whole actual business aspect of it. As far as the rest, it just kind of followed that. So
wait, so where are you at with the rats right now? Like, how big of a rat production are you running, or what's going on with the rats?
I'm not. I wish I was running. The rats are so unpredictable. The rats are the biggest headache, honestly. So
God, you think?
Yeah, they're the worst.
Yeah, they're the worst.
So I mean, right now,
I'm glad somebody says this, because everyone always says, like, and no, you know, it's true, but like, yeah, you know, I produce my own rats. Like, fucking, like, god damn, it's like collecting receipts. No, dude, producing your own rats is probably the biggest chunk of work when it comes to wanting to do this whole fucking hobby, bro. Like, I'm telling you right now, the rats really tests you. It really puts you where you're at in this shit. I'm glad I don't fuck with those. God damn.
So I provide for myself, and I provide for a couple other local people sometimes. So like right now, I run short on everything, and it sucks because it happens every year. And most of my clients are friends. So it sucks when you don't have what they need, and you got to start going and looking for stuff like otherwise. But I don't know. I haven't figured out how to control it besides getting bigger, which I don't really want to do. So, I mean, I provide enough to supply myself, and George MD is one of my regular customers. And then outside of that, Jason Getting Reptiles, when I have the rodents, he's one of my regular customers.
Are they picking up weekly, or they pick up bi-weekly, weekly? How often are they picking up?
George gets every week. Jason is usually bi-weekly, because he got smart, and he has another guy on hand that he gets the opposite week from, because he knows the problem every year. And so, like, right now, I've turned it down the last 3 weeks, I think, which sucks. Right. Like I said, because he's a good friend. So
right. That's cool.
So yeah, the rodents, they're stressful. The biggest part that stresses me out is having to turn down friends, like, when they need stuff. So
yeah, I bet. I mean, because I'm sure sometimes it's like, you know, you kind of feel like they take it personal when you tell them no sometimes, or no?
I don't feel like they take it personal, but it bothers me. And then sometimes I kind of cut myself short, honestly, to fulfill some of the orders. So it's like, it's just such a certain times that, like, I don't know, 3 months ago, I had rats and mice I knew what to do with. And then every year, it runs into the same thing where now it's like probably partially heat in Florida doesn't help. I mean, they're somewhat comfortable at the same temperatures we are. So when it's 90 degrees here, I mean, they don't want to breed. But I mean, just the demand greatly increases this time of the year as well.
Yeah, so. I mean, especially it's during the COVID shit too. Like it's just everything's more in the demand. Like and rats, rodents.
Well, everybody's collection grows each year too. So
yeah, for sure. Holdbacks are held back. It's just yeah, exactly. Collections are growing by the day. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so
hard, but
so back to the ball pythons. Okay, so corn snakes. You kind of got that down. Then you kind of took the plunge into ball pythons. At what point did you make it an actual did you make it Constricted Reptiles? Like when did you actually make it a company and start posting stuff on Instagram and making it that sort of the side of the hobby?
So I started with Facebook because Instagram wasn't a thing then. Honestly, the name doesn't have a whole lot of meaning behind it, honestly, and I would probably change it. But it's kind of established.
Yeah.
My original thing was I wasn't on social media at all. I could care less about social media back then. And when I got into, at that point, it was mostly corn snakes. But I already knew I wanted to establish it as somewhat of a business. So I was trying to separate myself. So I wanted to do a business page on Facebook, but you cannot do a business page without having a personal page. So that's the only reason I got on Facebook was to set up a personal page and I set up a business page. But then you got to come up with a business name. And basically I just pulled it out of nowhere, honestly. I just for a couple weeks went around with just kind of trying to figure out something. Originally, like I said, it was geared slightly more towards the rodents, so I wish I had come up with a name like Cold Blooded Cafe or something like that, because I mean that's not that would apply to me at this point, but I was kind of thinking yeah, I know, right? But I was thinking constricted rodents or something like that. And then it kind of transitioned from there.
I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but toot motherfuckers, because I come up with some really cool fucking names. And I have some really, really awesome rodent names I came up with. I'm not spitting any of them on here just because I'd rather not. But it's cool. I mean, I do feel, with all due respect, people do need to get more creative. Put something a little bit more behind their brand, because it's kind of all right, that's your name, Exotics. That's cool, yeah. But at the end of the day, I mean, the animals do all the talking. I mean, you could fucking put, I like Lamp and Exotics and still have them, a big ass following. I mean, like I said, the animals will do all the talking for you if people would just understand that. But the whole brand thing, it's important, but I don't think it's as important as you trying to figure out where you fit in this hobby longevity wise. You need, you obviously saw yourself in this for the long run. You know what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of people, I feel get into this so excited and they see other shit to where they create a brand, they do all this, but they don't really put themselves in 5 years down the road, and it's crazy because I've been in this for 4 years. And I just cleaned house recently on the people I was following, because I was like, why am I following almost 1,000 people? This is too much. And with all due respect, I was like, who the fuck am I even following on here who I don't even talk to? I don't even look at their shit. And with all due respect, and dude, I cannot tell you how many fucking accounts I came by with people who haven't posted stuff since 2019. And I'm like, damn, where did this? It was kind of oh my God, where did this person go? And I'm just it was tripping me out. It trips me out. But
that was Facebook for me. So when I jumped on, like I said, obviously Facebook was the only thing that was there. So when I jumped on Facebook, I was following everybody that had a snake picture. It was I didn't, maybe you couldn't then, I don't know, but maybe you could. But I didn't realize till later that you could
Thank you for watching this week's Trap Talk with MJ podcast clip. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. That way you're on top of every single Trap Talk clip that's released here every week. And that way you're on top of every single podcast that comes out every Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday here on the Trap Talk with MJ YouTube channel, where we bring all the hottest up-and-coming reptile keepers and all the most experienced, hottest reptile keepers in the reptile game. We will see you here next week with another Trap Talk clip, and we're out. Cheers!